Well, hello everyone. It's a Saturday night. I guess that makes it all right. Um, and I just had a couple things on my mind and wanted to share them with all of you. Uh, I was having a conversation today with somebody, and we were talking about why why do people do what they do? And it's such an interesting question to be in, and there's a lot of answers. Some of them are very simple and some of them are a little bit more complex, but we are in such an interesting time in the world right now. And whether you're thinking about why does somebody else do what they do, you might not ever question why you do what you do. But that is just as true because we all work the same way as human beings on this planet. And a couple of things just to lay out the ground rules. I really don't have a direction I want to go on this video, but I want you to imagine for a moment that you walk into the kitchen, and I walk in the kitchen with you, and I don't know what kitchen it is, but we walk into a kitchen together, and somebody's cooking something. And I want you to imagine for a moment that it's a smell that you like. It's a smell that connects you to a moment in time, maybe your childhood, something that meant something to you, or any particular moment in time. And you go, wow, that really smells good. But I walk in the same kitchen, I'm there right there with you, and I smell the same smell, and I go, I don't like it. Oh, it's giving me a headache. Well, which is it? Does it smell good or does it smell bad? Well, neither one of these are real. Something in reality cannot exist in two different states at the same time. Right? It can't be good and bad at the same time, right? And the truth of this, which is what we'll call ultimate truth, the ultimate truth stripped away from all of our assumptions, suppositions, interpretations, things like that, is and that will exist no matter if it's debated and who it's debated. We can all agree that there is some sort of gaseous emanation, which we call an odor or a smell, right? We can all agree that that is there. Everything else is your interpretation. But how does your reality create the smell being good or even meaningful, and my reality make it, I don't like it at all, I've got a headache, I got to get out of here? And I want you to imagine for a moment that same example in anything else in life, okay? Whether maybe you like a movie or don't like a movie, or think somebody's attractive, don't think somebody's attractive. But now let's talk about something different. What about choices people make in their life, right? Or the choices you make in your life. I promise you, none of you are walking around going, I'm choosing consciously to make the wrong choice right now. It is a bad choice. I'm going to make it anyway. We don't. We make choices because we think, based on where we are and the knowledge that we have and the tools that we have to work with, we choose because we think that it is the best choice we can make at that particular moment. And the funny thing is that the logic that you use for your choices, I can find similar logic in the same choices that I make, even though they might be different choices and lead to different outcomes. But when we're talking about reality, if you smell the smell and it smells good and delicious, that is your reality. The way that you interpret your reality, the way that, because we don't experience reality directly, we experience it in 5 different ways, which I won't talk about right now, but one of them is the senses. But that gaseous emanation, that odor, if you will, is not good or bad. Okay? But your interpretation of reality, and now that becomes your belief that it is good. And we could even get into a little argument about it. How could you not think that smells great? It smells delicious. What, are you kidding? It's giving me a headache. How could you even like that? Now imagine for a moment this same conversation about politics, religion, rights, movements, anything like that, right? And you can start seeing how people can have a belief or idea that this is this, or they could have a belief or idea that no, it's this, right? And then those ideas can clash, which is what we're seeing in the world. Now, remember that we are a complete sum of our beliefs. That's it. We have an idea. If you haven't heard my belief structures or the belief paradox, go back into my YouTube, watch a video. They're in there. But there's an event. We get ideas from the event. We take one of those ideas, we set it in stone in our mind, and it becomes a belief. Now, the only way that we're going to change that belief is to somehow have a conscious thought that maybe that isn't correct. Maybe that's not true. What if I'm wrong about that? And then if I'm wrong about that, what opens up? Or we have an experience that's more powerful than the first experience that led to that first belief that makes us change our belief. Now, one thing that I love about Buddhism is a set of principles and ideas that they're very much open to. In fact, the Dalai Lama says, if science proves any part of Buddhism wrong, then Buddhism will have to change. Ideas are fluid. Ideas can be changed. Scientists live in ideas and possibilities. Well, what about this? What about that? What about this? Okay, this is this. Yeah, but what if this is this and there? And what if it's not that? And that's how they come up with so many amazing discoveries, because they have a set of ideas and they're open to the very next thing that they look at overriding the last idea, which is really cool, because it's all about trying to uncover truth, not about them being right about something. However, most of us, we have a belief that says, I have an idea, I set it stone in my mind, that is the way that it is, and now it's my belief. And now, from now on, I will go ahead and I will view the world through the lens of that belief. I will judge and perceive things through that belief. I'm not even seeing the event. I'm not even seeing the ideas anymore. I'm seeing my version of it. Now, here's the interesting thing. When we go, yeah, but if blah, 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 well, there's a lot that goes into that. One is, remember that once we have a belief, it really doesn't occur to us that things are different than that belief. We don't walk around constantly questioning our beliefs. We'd go crazy if we did. But if we never take time to look at those and be open to something new and be open to, well, what if I've got it wrong? We'll never see anything else other than the way we see it. But there's also something in neuroscience, which is a rebound effect, that if somebody gets facts that contradict their beliefs, it actually reinforces their beliefs. Why? Well, we don't want to be wrong about things. Okay. To most of us, to most humans, being right is a survival context, because being wrong feels like death. And there's a whole bunch of things on why we even got to that point, right? Different talk. But what happens then is when more facts are given, not only does it reinforce the belief even more, but that's when the deflection or the outlandish ideas and excuses come into play, because they can no longer logically defend their belief, but in the neuroscience, in the neural pathway, they need to. Okay, it's the brain, it's doing it. It's not the person, it's the brain. Okay, this is neuroscience. It exists. And so that's when people will say the most outlandish things or deflect to something else. Because when facts override your beliefs, it's a scary place to be. And the ego and the brain doesn't want you to be in brain shock. So it explains it away. It explains why you are right. Christmas is on the 25th of December on this calendar. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Here's a calendar. No, that calendar is wrong. Okay, here's 5 calendars. All those 5 calendars are wrong. Okay, here is the history of Christmas and when it's celebrated, blah, 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 blah. Well, what happened is that everybody got it wrong because, and the brain, instead of going, I never thought about that. Well, I'll take a look at that. The brain is saying, no, we have to be right about this. So explain it away. Or you could say, yeah, well, what about Easter? And then we deflect. But in that moment, there's not even, it doesn't even occur to the person that says, hey, maybe I'm wrong, because the brain and neuroscience won't even let that happen. And remember, we're already viewing it through the lens of our what? Our beliefs. So why would it occur to us that it's different than the way we say it? Why would it occur to us that the smell isn't good? Because we know the smell is good. We smell it. It smells great. And when we start looking at those things, you can start now seeing why people do what they do. And there's other reasons. And I was talking more about like, why do people kill, and what about serial killers and impulses and things like that. But we're talking on a basic human level. Because we don't experience reality directly, then we have all of these beliefs. What we should have is a bunch of ideas. I think this is my idea. I think this, and I'm open to something swaying me to something else. If I see something that disproves this, great. Because I would rather know the truth than be right about something and actually be wrong. Now that's very hard to do. It takes a very conscious choice. It takes a very open mind. It takes a willingness to say, I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong about a lot of things. And I often tell people the hardest part about spiritual growth is all the things you get to, that you admit to yourself that you don't like about yourself. And a lot of those things of, I was wrong about this, I was wrong about that. I hurt people in my past. I didn't mean to. I didn't even know I was at the time. But my beliefs about who I was and that no one will love me and this and that, the other, when somebody loved me, that's like, a square peg going in the round hole. And the only way to make a square peg go in the round hole is either destroy the peg or destroy the hole, right? So I would destroy the relationship because I had to back up my beliefs. When I started having awareness that maybe life isn't the way I think it is, then I was like, oh. And it pains me to know the people that I hurt, right? And most people don't ever want to feel that, which is why they can excuse, defer, and never open your mind to having that question. But my question usually from a coaching standpoint or personal development standpoint is always, what's stopping you in something? And somebody will say, well, I don't know how to do it. What if you did know how to do it? Well, then what opens up for you? What if you were beautiful? What if you were smart? What if you were good enough, smart enough? What if you did have value? What if you got rid of those self-limiting beliefs? And what would open up for you if you were those things? But our self-talk can be negative. But in the bigger picture, we also get to look at, hey, am I on the right side here? And be objective instead of subjective, right? Be logical instead of emotional. Tunnel vision, which is what we get when we get emotional, and it's a physical thing, we take logic out of the equation. We're acting strictly on instinct and emotion. Well, that's not always the right thing. And what makes you think that every emotion that you have is right? Because again, emotions are another way we experience reality, but it's our version. And so to open up conversations of how do we create closeness? How do we work together for something bigger than ourselves, something that will better all of us, peace compassion, those things, a few things have to happen. One is, and I say this a lot in the trans community, which is why I'm kind of an outcast in the trans community, is because I say, people go, well, they have to accept us for it. No, they don't. Nobody has to accept you for anything. They don't. And why would you think they do? And here's the thing, that if you were, a straight white male, they wouldn't have to accept you for that either. Nobody has to accept you. But if you want acceptance, the first thing you have to do is what? Accept others. If you want them to accept you where you are, you have to accept them where they are and their experiences and their beliefs. Because here's this thing, just as you are right in your mind, well, that they have to accept us, they're right in their mind that they don't. But both of those things are just a conversation. Now, that has nothing to do with moral and ethical values of, wanting to have rights that all people should have, all people across the board. But nobody has to accept your choices. Nobody has to accept anything. In fact, denial is one of the biggest things. People get a terminal illness diagnosis. The first thing they do is deny it. They don't even accept that. What chance do we have? Right? And when you start looking at that, then we have to start saying it in order to even have the conversation. And this is something I've been thinking a lot about because it's where I'm going next. In order to even have a conversation, it's about listening to others. It's about understanding that they're making their choices the same way you make your choices with the same logic, just different results. It's about accepting where they are and understanding that they're right the way that they see it and the way that they have it, just like you are about the way that you have it and you see it. But just like the smell being good or bad, which is it? Which is it? Because the smell can't be good and bad in the same reality. It can't exist in the same reality. Nothing can exist in two different states. Same thing with right or wrong, right? So an idea cannot be right and for some people and wrong for others. It's just an idea. We strip away our suppositions. We strip away our assumptions, and we strip away our interpretations, and we get down to the bare minimum. But to have a conversation, we get to meet people where they are and understand it's okay for them to be where they are, just as it's okay for you to be where you are. And that's the first step. Going back to the whole neuroscience thing about the rebound effect, the way to get around that is to not give facts, but to offer something where they can experience it for themselves and uncover something different for themselves. By saying something like, hey, would you be open to reading something? If the person goes, no, okay, no worries. If the person goes, yeah, I'll be open to it. All right, cool. I'd love to have a conversation with you about it afterwards. And then they can read it without any other subtext on it, without any change. But you can also do the same thing, because guess what? Some things that you believe in your heart you're right about, maybe you're not. Maybe. And what if you weren't? What happens? But you're not going to question your beliefs. Why would you? They're already set in stone in your mind. But it's time that all of us start doing that. It's time for all of us to put our beliefs to the side, suspend our beliefs. It's what we do when we go to a movie, right? You go see the Avengers Endgame. You have to suspend your belief. Otherwise, sure, there's somebody that turns green and breaks out of their clothes. Sure, there's this. Sure, there's this guy named Thanos. Sure, a snap. Like it's totally unreal. But we suspend our belief when we go in so we can enjoy the movie. Well, the same thing can happen here, is we get to suspend our beliefs for a moment, go back to ideas, and be open to being wrong about how we see reality, because we don't experience it directly. We're doing it 5 different ways Emotions are one, our consciousness are another, but those things aren't necessarily real. And could you imagine fighting for something over and over and over again and then suddenly realizing that you're wrong about it? And that's right there, that feeling. That's why people don't do it, because they don't want to feel that way. But in personal development, and even in business development, that's one of the first steps, is having the awareness that, what if you're wrong about this process in a business process? This is what scientists do all the time. So what philosophers do all the time. What if it's not this? What if it's something else? What if it's this? What if it's not even that? What are the possibilities that exist? Maybe it's all of those things. And imagine how we could come together and start really talking about some big issues that face us in our life, us as in our country, right? Even the things that are happening between friends, between husband and wife, between parents and kids, to be able to sit down and have these conversations instead of saying my way is the right way. No, my way is. Because that's all an argument is. It's two people saying, hey, I have a point of view, listen to me. No, I have a point of view, you listen to me. That's it. But to have this conversation, it's about setting our beliefs to the side. We can always go back to them, okay? But being open to a new possibility that maybe we've never seen before. Maybe we've never even been open to before. And I'm asking you to try it. And you don't have to. You don't owe me anything. But what if? What if? And would it be okay to meet other people where they are and say, hey, I know you're here, and that's fine. It's okay to be there. Just as like it's okay for me to be here. And let's talk. And let's see. And let's see what new possibility can come out of this for both of us. And that's what I challenge you to start doing. Start with your own self-talk. Start asking on your own beliefs. What if I was wrong about this? What facts have I overlooked because I want my beliefs to be right, even if the facts disprove it? How many excuses have I made? Well, that's not a reputable source. All 7 of those aren't reputable sources. Whatever, right? Because that's neuroscience. And the only way that we're going to change a belief is to what? 1, have an awareness in a moment and make a conscious choice, which is the hardest thing to do. But that's what I'm asking. Make that choice. What if I'm wrong? Let me re-examine the data from a fresh perspective, whatever that data is, and wherever it is in your life. And the other way is to have an experience that is more powerful to program a new belief. But even that just programs a new belief. So we want to stay in the idea phase. And that's what I'm asking. Let's have a conversation about anything, about relationships, about being in relation to each other in any given moment, how we relate to each other in any given moment. Let's talk about how we can become closer as friends, as a country, as a world, right? Imagine if we're all having that conversation, not to prove anybody wrong and not even to be right, just to listen and go, huh, never looked at it that way before. Cool. And what would open up for you in your own life if you're wrong about the way that you saw certain things, whether it's you, how you see yourself, how you see your relationship, how you see your partner, how you see your kids, how you see the world, whatever it is. What if it wasn't really that way? Because it's not for any of us, because we don't experience reality directly. So that's it. That's what's on my mind. I hope you have a very good weekend. Thank you always for watching. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. But until then, enjoy your night. And I love you all. Thank you for giving me your time. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.